Hey, it's Claire from Punch Pass, and I'm here with Victoria, also from Punch
Hey
Pass.
there.
And today we wanted to talk a little bit about waitlists, which, to be honest, doesn't sound that interesting. But we've got two different ways to run waitlists through Punch Pass, and they can be an incredibly critical part of your business, especially if you're operating from a space with limited capacity and you really want to make sure that all of your classes are at or near capacity, not over, not under, just really nice and full.
Well, yeah. Um, it's so funny because I feel like, the interesting Punch Pass history is that we had one way to run waitlists for a long time. And I was like, this is so much better than the other way. And then we got enough people being like, we do kind of like the other way. We're used to the other way. That's our expectation. So now we have both options. And you get to choose which way do you want to offer a waitlist.
And it's kind of an
Um,
example of one of those things where, like, the first way, like you said, that was normal to me. You kind of assume this is how everyone wants to do it, right? That's how waitlist works. We do it this way.
right.
But yeah, like you said, we had enough people going, actually, that's not how we think a waitlist works. So it's like, okay, that's enough. But yeah, it's really interesting how you just assume that the way that you want to run your studio is the way that everyone else wants to run their studio, which is not the case,
Not
actually.
always the case.
Interesting.
Yeah. So so basically the two options that we have in Punch Pass are the email everyone option, and then we have the autofill option. So email everyone, anyone who's on the wait list, if a spot opens up, they get an email and it's like, hey, spot's open, grab it. And the first person to grab it and claim that spot gets it.
Yeah.
Um, And then the other option, autofill, is the first person who's signed up on the wait list is automatically added to that class and they get an email letting them know.
Yeah.
Um, Claire, do you have a preference?
The first one to me felt normal. I like the Hunger Games version where it's kind of a race to the button to see who can like get into class next. I kind
Yeah.
of like that sort of vibe. I think the pros to that one are that people that are excited and looking and waiting and hoping um, are looking at their emails, and then they're going to jump on that button and they're going to claim that spot. And obviously that can happen a few times, as class time approaches. Every time someone
Mhm.
cancels a confirmed reservation, that process starts again. Everyone gets emailed again, et cetera, et cetera. If they get sick of the emails, they can always cancel their reservation on the wait list.
Yeah.
So that one always felt more normal to me. I think the pro is that that person definitely still wants to come to the class. Do you have a preference between the two?
I mean, so my classes are limited to 10, and we do have people book really far out, and then the day
Yeah,
comes or the day before comes and they cancel. And so at that point, you might have gotten on the wait list a month ago
right.
and you might not automatically want the spot. So
Mm-hmm.
we do the email everyone version as well. And I like it because you are getting that confirmation that this person is like, yep, saw it, want it,
Yeah,
it's mine, I'm in, I know I'm coming. However, I think the autofill option, some people think about it as like it's fair in that, hey, I was the first person who wanted to get this spot, I should get the spot. And
yeah,
so I think it really depends on like expectations.
yeah,
And you as the studio kind of do get to set those expectations. Like we explain it to our customer and they're like, hey, like you will get an email, you have to claim the spot.
yeah.
Um, and now I have people who like set up auto alerts for those kinds of emails on their
Ooh,
phones. So they like immediately know.
yeah,
If you want in, you'll get in.
absolutely.
But some people are like, no, I really, it's fair. I'm the first, I got on the wait list, the first person, I should get that spot. So some people just feel like that's the expectation their customers have when they sign up for a wait list, and they just prefer that option because that's what people are expecting. And I think that like both options work. They give you a wait list. They have, they're both wait lists. They both work. It just kind of depends on the expectations and whether you want to kind of like lean into what your customers are giving you feedback on, or if you're like, well, I've run into too many issues with certain kinds of wait lists, and so, oh, I didn't see that I got in. Well,
Right.
you know, that's a little tough. uh,
I
you know,
I think with the autofill one too, people can put themselves on the wait list months ahead, and that's not always great either. Like I think sometimes people throw themselves on the wait list and then kind of ignore that and figure they're never going to get in. It really depends on the studio. Some people know that wait lists are
Yeah.
incredibly active. There's lots of movement. Other places it's
Yeah.
a bit more passive. And I think teaming it up with something like a late cancel policy too. So imagine if at noon someone cancels their reservation, someone else gets auto added, and then at 5 o'clock they realize, oh my goodness, I got auto added to this class and I'm never going to make the 6 o'clock class. They cancel. Then, if you've got a late cancellation policy, you're going to charge them as though they came
Mhm.
to class. So you're getting that revenue anyway. And then when someone else gets added at 5 o'clock, maybe they're not going to make the 6 o'clock class either. At least you've gotten compensated for that class. You've got the revenue
Yeah.
coming in. They know better for next time, maybe. I mean, it's gentle, guiding
Yeah.
people. We don't want to punish people, but at the same time, someone else is missing out because they didn't pull themselves off the wait list when they realized they weren't going to be able to come to the class tonight. So
Mm.
education as well, letting people know. And some people
Yeah.
only learn when things happen to them. I think we're all a bit guilty of that sometimes. So they
That's fair.
probably won't do that again, which can be a great lesson.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, I don't know. I wish I pulled the numbers because I'm sure we could find out like percentage of our users are in one or the other. But I think it's a fairly even split.
Yeah.
I think I think probably our long-term clients, if people have been on PunchFast for a long time, they're just used to the way that we did it for a long time. But like new people moving in from a platform that had the auto option, like autofill, I think they're just like, I want to, sometimes when you're migrating from one platform to another, you just want to like, hey, I want it to feel similar
Right.
to systems that ways that they're familiar, a process that they're familiar with, and they're
Yeah.
already changing systems, so changing the waitlist procedure on them is going to be too much. So you know that's where, hey, you have both options, you can decide, and then maybe down the road you can play around with it
Yeah.
depending on how people's behavior is.
Yeah.
If people are handling it well, great. People are kind
Yeah.
of causing some ruckus about how the wait list works, then maybe you want to try out the other option for a little, see if it's better.
And that's why we have two. I don't know if there's a third way. Maybe we'll add a third way one day. I'm not
Oh
sure.
my
Can't imagine
gosh.
not having a way.
I can't, I'm sure there's something.
I'm sure there's more, but no,
Someone
there
let
is
us
two.
know if you have another
Yeah,
way you'd want to
please.
see a wait list work.
Yeah.
Be curious. All
But
right.
those are ours. Those are the
Those
two
are
ways.
ours. Yeah.